What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? If you're wondering why, well, first off, let me just go ahead and say, before I even get into what I was about to say, that I go by the name of Jazz, or you can call me Superjaz.
Superjaz.
As nature fucking intended. Superjaz, SJ, JT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And I am always joined by the other hosts of the show.
Oh, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis, Feo Grande on YouTube, Pete on this channel. I'm doing good as well.
And what I was about to say was, if you're wondering, hey, what is going on? It is a different day of the week, yet I'm seeing these dudes, and they are not just halfway talking about wrestling and trying to hop off of it, but they're talking about it the whole show on purpose. Well, that's because it is the first Sunday of the month, and this is our first Sunday wrestling podcast that we do on the same channel of the Whatever We Want podcast that you can see every Wednesday on this channel. So what we do is we talk about all things that happened in wrestling in the previous month, building up to the first Sunday of right now.
By all things, we mean with a heavy focus on AEW, some focus on WWE, and barely any acknowledgement of the other companies.
This is true, but you had to say it like that. Barely any acknowledgement like that.
I mean, well, we came in strong with all things wrestling, so I just had to make sure we didn't get the.
I mean, it's just funny because
we didn't get the actuallys. You didn't talk about Kota Ibushi versus Michael Nakazawa. Sorry.
I mean, yo, all respect to Impact, all respect to GCW, all respect to.
And where didn't you talk about Matt Cardona versus Bully Ray?
All respect to Glory Pro, all respect to all them people. But yes, no, he is accurate and very factual when he says that it is a heavy slant on AEW with some focus on WWE.
Yeah, and the main reason is nothing against those companies. Like you said, all due respect to those, you know. I know New Japan Pro is a legend for a reason. That said, I don't have enough time to watch everything New Japan on top of watching AEW, on top of watching WWE, two of which I barely have enough time to watch in and of them damn selves.
Facts, man. Facts, for real. That's something I've been saying for a few years now, honestly. But now with the inception of AEW, whatever the quality of the programming, that's kind of a gift and a curse, good and bad thing. Is like it's more programming to take in as a wrestling fan. But it's a gift and a curse because it's more programming to take in as a wrestling fan, which means that if you want to keep up with it, hey, you got to watch. If you were to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Rampage, Dynamite, Dark, Elevation, and those are just the two major companies.
Yeah.
That would be what? That would be 3 hours, 2 hours. NXT is 2 hours, isn't it?
I think so.
So 3 hours, 2 hours, and 2 hours. That's already
7 hours.
Then you got Rampage is one more, so that's 8. Then you got Dynamite, which is
2 more.
10.
Yeah,
10 right there. Then Dark and Elevation are an hour apiece, so that's 12. You have to watch 12 hours a week while trying to lead just a job as a grown person. And we don't have kids. So imagine if somebody had kids and have, man.
And that's not counting, premium live events or pay-per-views.
No.
Which they like running against each other on the weekends. It's like, oh, they doing their thing this weekend, we'll do ours on the other day.
Tony Khan found that out the more he started, the more AEW started having success. He found out that WWE will never admit that the reason why they showed it on the same day or the day before or right after in the same weekend was because of that. But he started finding out that because he was doing something, this was like a few months ago, and I remember he was talking, it might have been in one of his scrums. Oh, the scrums in AEW and how they've been this year. But anyway.
We'll see you next week on Nitro.
But but no, it was in one, it might have been in a scrum or something like that, but he was saying something like he had purposely booked a day for some pay-per-view during some weekend because there was nothing happening around it, and then all of a sudden now there's NXT on the day before, and then like the day after, like WWE's main show having some shit. It was just like, welcome to business, man. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. And I mean, you know, I was saying to shout out to Big Bro Ibn. I was saying to him, you can look at the booking style of then Vince. And I'm not talking about, you know, anything. I'm just talking about his booking style.
Yeah.
You can look at the booking style of Vince and look at the booking style of Tony Khan. And it's like Tony Khan was like a fan who is also a booker.
Yeah.
And Vince was like a booker who's also a fan.
I'll give you that.
With the way that they book the shows.
Yeah.
Because I think Tony very much books his shows very much like a fan with a lot of money.
Yeah. Who do I want to see fight each other? Also, let me try my best and still fail because it's nigh impossible with that much talent to showcase everybody.
Yeah. And then, like I say, and then Vince, like I say, he I mean, Attitude Era was a little bit more fan-ish, but it was still. But I think Vince was doing. He's more so like, what will make the most money first?
Yeah.
And then we get into fan service. So
definitely
that's
that
booking, yeah. and because I mean, we'll make the most money first, and then getting into the fan part gives us John Cena's run.
Yeah.
Because he was getting booed, but they never turned him.
It gives us the current run as well.
Yeah, which can go into speed, but the difference is they turned him.
Who?
Roman.
They turned him.
He was heel for a minute.
He still is.
I thought he was, right. The way you were talking, I was like, wait. You made me you had me rethinking and re-guessing like I missed some shit.
No, he still is heel, but that don't mean people like it.
But what I mean
they like the Sammy thing, but
true.
That's what they needed because just Roman and if Roman and the Usos were still coming out here, we're the ones acknowledging me. Now we got the little brother Us here too. No one would. People would still be pissed off. They like the Sammy thing because they like Sammy because he's, which we can go into our first topic order. They like Sammy because he annoys them or he makes them crack on stage and stuff. It makes them laugh when they can't keep their character. But they're still heels. It's just Sammy's a face in a heel stable, pretty much.
But no. You had me re-guessing, like or rethinking what I was saying the way you were talking. But that's no. What I mean is they still turned Roman when he was face. They did it during the pandemic where they turned him into a heel, but they never turned Cena. They never turned Cena.
They never turned Cena heel. I thought you were saying okay, fair. That's what but Cena also got his success
as a heel.
As a heel? I thought it was as a face because he beat Layfield.
No, Cena started to get over as a heel and then got more over as a face because he was a heel first. He started getting cheered. They turned him face. Then his fucking time in the sun lasted way too long, and he overstayed his welcome, and that's why you got the mix of boos and cheers, and they never turned him back.
Well, Roman started to get over as a face. Like, I know the internet didn't like him, but for the most part, marketing wise and stuff, like, I saw people even at my job, like grown ass men wearing, fucking Roman Reigns shirts with the silhouette of the Superman punch and shit like that. And a lot of people like, hey, yo, acknowledge, they maybe not acknowledge him, but they're like, he's the best, blah, blah, blah. Even when he came back at first they tried to do it like as a face thing, and then Paul Heyman showed up a couple weeks later. But even then, people were like, oh shit, these internet marks ready to shut their fucking marks. So he started getting over as a face. He just got over a hell of a lot more when they turned him into a heel. So it's like a reverse Cena.
Right. He, but I mean, I guess this does somewhat full circle from what we were talking about from the beginning. But it's like, I go back and forth. That's why I always make the joke of calling us armchair bookers, because at the end of the day, every wrestling fan has input on how they think the business should be run, but at the end of the day, we don't know what the hell.
I don't think people are wrong to be annoyed with how long Roman's been champion.
I'm not saying we can't have an opinion. I'm just saying, well, what I was going to say was sometimes you don't always need to give the fans exactly what we want, and you do need to subvert expectations. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you need to give us what we want, because at the end of the day, who is the ultimate consumer? Who is buying the product?
Yeah,
whatever. But that's what I was saying. So that's why I said at the end of the day, we don't really fully know what we're doing, but it's a little bit of don't always give us what we want, but sometimes it's okay to be like, hey, you want this? Here, take it. So I don't know, man. Because back a few years ago when the biggest star in the company was Becky, and as big as she could have gotten. I feel like as big as she got, I feel like she could have got a little bit bigger, but they were focused on Roman. But that's just me.
No, she could have gotten bigger, and then she got pregnant.
No, I think that they could have pushed her like a little bit harder. They were pushing her hard, but it was a little bit more.
So CM Punk said no one pushed him despite his year of being champion, and I'm not here to argue that. Because at least CM Punk had the point that his defenders come up with the whole he was never pushed argument. At least CM Punk had the point that they didn't let him headline WrestleMania. They let Becky Two Belts headline WrestleMania and win that fucking title. She did it before Bianca did it. Like that's the headline. That's on her and Ronda. Like, you can't blame WWE. They didn't tell Becky go out there and botch the finisher so you don't get over.
I'm just making a comment, bro. That was just a
like this whole they didn't push Becky shit. Like, she was Becky Two Belts for a fucking year after winning the match for WrestleMania. The only reason she stopped being fucking champ was because she had a baby and had to relinquish the fucking title. And then she came back, immediately squashed Bianca Belair, the star they had tried to make up in her absence, and gave her the belt right the fuck back. And started giving her fucking Marvel Studios things as her fucking entrance opening thing. It just said Becky Two Belts. It was either a WrestleMania or the match or the pay-per-view after that. It was a parody on that where it was just like Becky and it was like big time Bex.
I heard that that she started really leaning into the big time Bex. I mean, one, she wanted to change the gimmick, but I heard she started really leaning into big time Bex and stopped calling herself the man because there was some like dispute with, I could be wrong as fuck.
With Ric Flair.
Yeah. So she never referred to herself as the man again, mainly because of
Yeah, I mean, the man thing started initially because she was feuding with Charlotte, and she's like, your dad's like, you say you want to beat the
Be the
man,
man,
you gotta beat the
the
man. As
man.
far as
Well,
I'm
I am the
concerned,
man.
I'm the man. I don't need to say I'm the woman. I'm the man around here. I don't give a damn.
And it was the irony of a woman calling herself the man.
I'm not going to comment on that. But she said that she was the man. I'm like, yep, you are.
Word. No, I'm no. What was I gonna say? I will say this though. As much as what they were doing with Liv Morgan, and I love what they were doing with Liv, seeing Liv like finally on top and her doing what she was doing. She's still doing some decent shit. Her title run again. I don't watch WWE, people. I don't watch WWE as much as I do consistently keep up with AEW, and I just kind of keep up with WWE. But from what I was keeping up with, it seemed like Liv Morgan's reign was transitional as a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Like they were
yeah.
I was like, that's what's up. Okay, we got Liv got a belt. Okay, girl, they grinding. Let's go.
Yeah, now you want to argue they didn't push her. I'm not going to argue against you. Or rather that they could have pushed her further, because you didn't say they didn't push Becky. You said they could have pushed her further. I just don't know how they could have pushed Becky further than they did when you give someone that Golden Girl spot of main event WrestleMania, win the championship. That's like saying, 2010 Miz needed to be pushed harder.
I do say this though.
He beat John Cena, which it was the male equivalent of, Charlotte Flair's reign over the women division at WrestleMania, with, some person with an R in their name also being involved in the outcome.
Some person with an R in their name.
Well, The Rock, Ronda.
I just the way you made that connection is funny. I will say this though: 2010 Miz did not need to get pushed farther.
I'm agreeing.
No, but I do think that the Miz is overdue for another time in the fucking sun.
As opposed to just the transitional 1 week reign, so that Bobby can beat a heel to get the title.
Because with the grinding that Miz had done at the time to get to where he got 427 to have the shitty ending that it did, and all this time later, and he's become one of the better talkers in the company, probably the fucking business at the time, and
they
he
just
never got it again.
And they just give him the celebrity spot every year,
and he never got it again.
He got it once again. For a week.
What did you just say?
Yeah, that's why I said, outside of a week. No, he didn't get it again. But they did make him one of the more recognizable names of the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. He has gone on to have a good run.
Because that's the other thing we gotta what people have to remember about pushes is that not everyone can be champion. And as such, there are ways to push people aside from putting the main belt on them.
I believe it was Piper that never got a title at all, wasn't it?
I don't know well enough.
I
believe Piper was pre my watching. I saw him come back as an old man to say stuff like, "Remember me, I'm Roddy Piper." The second you start asking changing the answers, I start changing the questions or something like that.
Just when you think you have all the answers, you want to change the questions.
What the fuck did you just say? My time.
Me too, motherfucker. We were both either not around or young as shit when Piper was doing his thing. When
Randy Savage would come back to be like, "Oh no." Yeah, they say they catchphrases.
But just take it. Just take it. Have a bad day. You didn't say that shit. Have a bad day. You don't get just take it.
Bring it.
Okay. What else? Okay. What else? Speaking of star power, though, WWE they've been acquiring a whole. It's kind of funny how you let enough time pass. And at times with anything in life, stuff will kind of flip and people will kind of end up acting like the other whatever without trying to, so to speak. And now WWE has been doing a little more AEW-ish where they've been acquiring like all the fucking talent back. Because I mean, on top of Wyatt, who I was alluding to, they also got the motherfucking Good brothers back.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, man. First off, before we get into Wyatt, how do you feel about the Good brothers?
They're good. I'm not OMG. Here's some Good brothers. I'm happy to see them. Like I was at first because I was told that Bullet Club was the end all be all holy grail. Like this is wrestling in 2015 or whatever.
Yeah, back when everybody was
the fucking Bullet Club in New Japan shits on WWE's existence, which may still very well be true. I'm not saying it isn't. Again, I didn't watch it, but they like the Bullet Club is the best thing to happen to wrestling since they put ropes around the ring, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
since it became a squared circle. Yeah, this Prince Devitt dude, he's the fucking shit, and he's got the Bullet Club. It's got all kinds of people. They're Americans that go over there, and they're heels of Japan. Because they're Americans, and they're like, haha, we be gaijins, fuck y'all, and the Japanese people are like, boo, and but if you do the vice versa, we're racist for doing it. And I'm not complaining about it happening. I'm just saying this is wrestling. Obviously, outsiders are going to be booed, is more what I'm saying, regardless of where you are in the world. But yeah, so I was like, they had a big boost to me just for being, okay, Bullet Club, this is what real wrestling is, apparently. So yeah, they're cool, and they weren't like terrible enough for me to be like, man, people are overhyping this shit. And then, but years pass, they get out of the company, they go elsewhere. I kind of forget. I get enough time to forget about them. And then in the little bits that I see since then, I'm just like, they're good at what they do. I just don't really care. Like, if that makes any sense. I like the Shatter Machine. Not Shatter Machine. What's that? Magic Killer.
Yeah, that's right.
I like the Magic Killer. I like the look and I like the idea of the team. There's just something that doesn't fully click. So when people are like, why didn't they get blah, 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 blah? Now that I've had enough time seeing them on my screen, I kind of see it.
I like the Good brothers for what they are, but I do agree that I don't want this to sound mean-spirited when I say it, but I'm going to say it how I feel it. I like them for what they are, and I really do. But I feel like there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
Just there's like a ceiling with just like how far I see them going.
That's a good way of putting what I was just saying.
Yeah, like I really like, everybody remembers Luke Gallows from back in the day. Speaking of, Punk that we talked about for a hot second. I think Shariat Society is honestly one of the underrated factions in just wrestling history. So, but Luke Gallows back in the day, and then all of a sudden you see Luke Gallows down the line, and he's doing shit in New Japan, and then now the Good Brothers and with Carl Anderson and all this shit, and I like them for what they are, but it does seem as if what they are, there's not too much more than what they are. Like, there's not more that they seemingly could be. This is just what they are, and this is what they will be, and that is them, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be too much more. So it's like, it's one of those where it's not it. And if I ever down the line eat my words, then I'll be more than happy to. But it's not one of those. Oh shit, the Good Brothers is one of those.
Oh, okay,
the Good Brothers. That's what's up. Like, exactly. right.
Oh, cool.
Exactly.
They're back.
Which is kind of like I saw a picture and like clips of him, and I was like, oh, that's what's up. Okay, cool. That's what's
Like
up.
they've had the opposite effect on me than the FTR have, where FTR comes in and I'm initially told it's the best thing to happen to tag team wrestling since the fucking Bullet Club. What? All right.
Dude, right? Saying that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Just like, this is the best thing to happen to tag team wrestling all the time. I'm like, oh no, man. We'll see. And I'm like, okay, they're solid. But then they grow, and I'm like, okay, those guys are fucking, among the best of the best currently. And so I was like, okay. So it's like the opposite effect where I went from, I can kind of see it, but I don't see them going too far, to yay for FTR, and like the reverse for Bullet Club, to where, yeah, okay.
And then again, before we get into whatever, but another star returned. Actually, I want to say maybe a week ago from when we're shooting this shit. Alexa Bliss just came back with Asuka.
Oh, cool.
And reformed their team that they had before they left, which is funny because it was a thrown together as team, but then they returned. Together,
I don't even remember them being like.
But you don't even remember being a team a while ago,
right?
That's funny. But no, it was a thrown together as team. And then you hadn't kind of seen Alexa for a minute. I think Asuka too. And now they come back and they're a team again as though that shit wasn't thrown together in the first place.
That's hilarious. And especially considering, like, last thing I remember Alexa Bliss doing was, shooting fireballs at people and then covering herself with black shit at Mania to ruin the Bray Wyatt thing, and then disappeared.
What was the black goo crown? What was the black goo crown?
Oh, no, she was doing shit with Dewdrop last I saw. Oh, no, that was Ava Marie. No, she was scaring Dewdrop.
You went back with Ava Marie.
She was scaring Dewdrop. No, that's post WrestleMania, because they tried to give her all the Wyatt shit to her, but they decided to do her and her doll, Lily.
Yeah, that Lily.
And that Lily was who she was feuding with. So that's the last thing I remember with Alexa Bliss.
When you have a live program and you have the doll in the corner, but yet you put the camera on the doll in the live program and you have the doll CGI wink, and Dewdrop was like, "Oh my god!" The live audience didn't see that, and if you did put that on the camera for them to see, shame on you, bro. Like, that's just stupid. I'm sorry. I hate to be, as an artist and a creative myself, sometimes I hate to just flat out say some shit is stupid, because I know what it's like to create some shit and it not be received after you try. That's just stupid. I'm sorry. That's dumb. Like that was no. But it's nice to see Miss Bliss back. I saw a comment where somebody was saying she needs to go back to the Little Miss Bliss character. Now, I will say I don't think she necessarily needs to go back to Little Miss Bliss, but I do think that it would be nice to get her away from whatever she was doing last with the Lily thing, and she could go back to the goddess of the WWE. That was some good shit.
But she was being crazy bitches don't have a doll.
Well, no, I'm saying the goddess of WWE Alexa, where she was Mean Girl Alexa, and she was like all sassy and like Mean Girl type shit, and she was like ultimate heel, like asshole Alexa. That was some good shit. So, because I say that there are pretty much every like good wrestler is good at playing both face and heel, but some of them are career heels, some of them are career faces. I think Alexa Bliss shines as a heel. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Like Ric Flair can do both, but Ric Flair shines as a heel.
No, I can give you that. I wasn't refuting that statement. I was just like, she don't need to go back to the very beginning. She could do the hybrid thing, like the whole switching personalities between psycho and normal was a fine thing and gimmick for her to have, and it makes sense given her character. Like, that's what I said. She can go back and being crazy and just not doing the shit with the doll.
That honestly, that's true. The doll thing is dumb.
Yeah.
Even when I thought that some people will say that the Fiend, they either like retroactively look back and they say they didn't like the Fiend, or they retroactively look back and they say that the Fiend got stale. I liked the Fiend, the transformation into the Fiend, and the Fiend up to a point. And I really thought that the seeds being planted and the overall of Alexa being possessed was some good shit. When she was regular Alexa, then she started to get possessed, and then she got possessed, and then it was like, oh shit. I thought the transformation, I thought that was some good shit. And then, like you said, then it turned into Fireball, and then it turned into we setting motherfuckers on fire.
And I actually thought that was hilarious and awesome.
It was just
about as pro wrestling as it gets, and Randy Orton being the guy to set somebody on fire. I'm like,
it wasn't so much
Randall, no consequences, Orton, just sitting here setting people on fire. And I just liked the idea of Randy Orton just being like, I want to get rid of this Fiend guy or this Bray Wyatt guy, and every time Wyatt feuds with Randy wins the feud, and then he comes back worse, which technically is happening again. Every time Wyatt feuds with Randy, Husky Harris gets punted in the fucking head, comes back as a goddamn cult leader.
Yeah.
Fucking cult leader does all his shit, kind of running roughshod on the league, till eventually he comes across Randy, who's like, fuck you, nigga, I'm burning down your house. Bye. And then loses that feud.
That's the House of Horrors match.
No, I think House of Horrors either was before or after. I mean, I mean a literal fucking promo where Randy's like, you in the ring, I'm at your house. Guess what, nigga? Fire.
I don't remember that. Damn.
He's like, guess what, nigga? Fire. Randy pose while the house burns. And then he kind of disappears. I think technically he had lost to fucking Balor. He was gonna fight Balor technically, but still Randy got the upper hand in that. And then the next time we see Bray after his second disappearance, he's like got the Firefly Funhouse with the picture of the burning house in the background while he's talking. So clearly he's pissed off at Randy. He's pissed off at Randy. Sister or Abby the Witch literally says fuck Randy Orton. They bleep it, but she says that shit like, Randy Orton, fuck Randy Orton. Oh no, put a thing in the swear jar. And so he fights Randy, and then Randy, with this whole Fiend thing, and then Randy's like, fine, setting your house on fire wasn't enough, I'ma set you on fire, nigga. Now what? I burned the man alive in the center of the ring. Leave me the fuck alone, Wyatt. I'm coming back, Super Saiyan, coming back from the dead, resurrected Bray Wyatt in a very, very well done 2 or 3 month build up for Wrestle fucking Mania. Let's go. I'm Randy. Your girl's got black shit on her. What? I win. No consequences for me. I literally tried to murder a man in the ring.
Right. only in wrestling.
I'm Randy Orton. I murdered him. I blazed a man. Now I'm gonna blaze some grass with this pothead. Let's go, bro. Let's do it. And and then he disappears. But now Bray's back as super duper duper Bray Wyatt with his Wyatt 6. It's like, leave fucking Randy, leave Bray alone, and vice versa. Bray, I know you go fucking Saiyan and get your goddamn Zenkai boost every time you lose to Randy, but stop. Stop fighting Randy.
I never thought about the catalyst to his transformation being Randy Orton. That's funny. when you actually go back and you see that each time it was Orton that he feuded with ultimately that did him in and made him change.
That's the opponent that fucks with him the most. He got to murder John Cena, essentially. John Cena came back briefly to get double murdered by Roman. But he pretty much, before that, we didn't see John Cena for damn near a year because Bray Wyatt's feed was like, "Here's the Firefly Funhouse match, nigga."
I'm about to say that Clockwork Orange ass shit.
Yeah, some good shit.
That's such good shit. That Vince McMahon puppet with the devil horns. That was good shit though. It was good shit.
It was. It's such good shit.
Oh man. And then you
say
had like
Vince doesn't have a sense of humor about himself. Technically, he does. It's just not as big as others.
What was I gonna say? And then I mean, you had the whole like fever dream of what if Cena was in the NWO for a second.
That whole
thing was good.
Was crazy. But now Wyatt is back with this Wyatt 6.
What was I gonna say? You said that you thought the build up and everything was good for what they did with this Bray Wyatt shit.
Yeah. Oh, with this one as well?
Oh no, you were talking about the yeah, okay.
Every time.
I loved what they were doing with this. The White Rabbit feelers and the way they had it almost like as best you could make a scavenger hunt on the internet. It was like a scavenger hunt for you to kind of go around and find all this shit and see all this shit. And it went back to Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit and all this shit and blah, blah, blah. It was so fucking well done.
I agree.
And the fact that everybody was trying to figure out who it could be, and you had some videos devoted to cracking the codes. And I was like, WWE, when was the last time you put this much into teasing a return?
Earlier this year with fucking Bray Wyatt. Like, that's the thing. Bray Wyatt does his returns and he goes in on this character, and I commend him for that. But I'm thinking a lot of that is his idea. To be fair.
Yeah, no, I definitely believe they say that he has a huge hand in his creative input, which would make sense because his character is so different. It's so well thought out, but it's so different that it would seem like there would have to be a different set of eyes, even if it wasn't him, a different set of eyes than what kind of seemingly books for everybody else because it's so fucking different.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, they said that even before they started to heavily fall into and lean into the White Rabbit shit, the way they did with the videos and the QR codes and all this other shit, they said that they would just randomly at house shows start playing a piece of the White Rabbit, like from Jefferson Airplane, just at house shows.
Okay.
Then they started to go further and further and further. And that's what I'm saying. They were doing it to where you could like I think there was like a QR code you scanned and it took you to like this video that took you to the Jefferson Airplane thing and all. I watched the video talking about it. Shout out to Wrestle Juice, Stephen Larson. And I watched the video with them talking about it. It was so fucking intricate. That's what I'm saying. When's the last time that they did all these little videos and this and that?
It's been a minute. I'm not enough of a wrestling historian to tell you the closest thing to it. That's why I kind of joked around and said the Bray Wyatt thing earlier this year.
But I mean, the transformation to the Fiend was so like out of nowhere, but it was cool as fuck. And then the big reveal at pay-per-view was that? Oh shit!
The last one.
I don't fucking remember. But the big reveal at the pay-per-view that just passed was it Elimination Chamber?
No.
I forget what it was. God, I forget what it was.
The one that had the fight pit. I don't know.
Anyway, Extreme Rules.
Okay.
The big reveal at Extreme Rules, I thought that was so well done because they did the whole show. No Bray Wyatt return, none of that shit. You watch the whole show, you do the whole thing, you do all you do. And then right when it's about to go off, I did think it was corny where you hear him say we're on the air and all that shit.
Yeah, we're on the air, right? Are we still on the air?
That was kind of dumb. But right before it's about to go off, they kind of bring the house lights up and then you see all of his puppets as people. and then he comes in, shows his face for about 1 second, blows out his lantern, and you hear ah. I was like, that was cool.
Yeah, because he did the old school so and so. Instead of we're here, it's just I'm here.
Right. Well, and it was always so funny too that he would pretend to blow out a lantern, but he's really just turning off the switch because it's electric. Because he's not gonna have fire that he brings to the ring on a regular basis. Yeah, because unless it's supposed to be a controlled thing with the fire, we're not gonna bring the fire.
Yeah.
The last time they had fire in front of people in a wrestling thing was the Inferno match. And those are usually very, very dumb. I'm just gonna be honest. But no, man, I thought that the return was very, very beautifully executed. Which is funny because Ibn said that he thought it
he hated it.
Yeah, he thought it was not a big deal. And I was like, really? It's like I thought that shit was great. I thought the way they did that was great. Where they had it where they showed they showed the puppets as people. And they zoomed in on.
Well, I'm sure he's like full on just fuck a WWE. Let's go AEW at this point.
I tell him that all the time. Shout out to Big Bro. Shout out to you, Ibn, if you are watching. But I tell him that all the time. He always denies that he's not straight up. Everything WWE does is bad, and everything AEW does is at least decent, if not amazing. And I tell him that all the time. And he's like, that's not true, but then turns right back around and pretty much just seemingly is like that. And it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, AEW, well, I'm not sure if I can say that overall right now, but I'm gonna. AEW is still the better product overall, but yeah.
Definitely AEW in-ring, like straight up in-ring competition wrestling.
Yeah.
AEW is and has been since their inception. Like the matches are better. Just
yeah.
Always. I do think that one thing that AEW lost over what was I gonna say? I do think one thing that AEW lost over like the last month, 2 months or so is they lost some star power and they lost some stories.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that you need if you don't have star power is you at least need gripping stories. And admittedly, AEW within this last month for me, I'm 3 rampages behind, to be honest. I got caught up on the Dynamite, but I'm 3 rampages behind this week and 2 weeks. And it's been a chore somewhat to get through because, like I say, I still like wrestling. I still like the product. They still got some good shit to watch, but it's not as exciting on a weekly basis for me to watch AEW as it was before the last month. And that's, like I said, if you don't have the star power, you at least need the gripping stories. And I don't think that they have super gripping stories like they once had, a month or so ago. And they lost some of their stars because of this brawl out shit. Do you still think brawl out is a work?
Less so than before, but considering they're literally doing these montages, bringing the elite back, I think at the very least part of it's been worked up more. Like they could have legit had a spat, but all the fallout from brawl out, I feel like has been over exaggerated for storyline purposes. Like they're literally running vignettes with the elite, deleting them from moments that they had. And I'm like, well, if you were to actually do this, you would just do it and not bring attention to, look at us do this every week with it not even the same picture and not explaining it, just letting you go, what are they doing? Now, like I said, clearly there seems to be some disgruntlement with CM Punk, and apparently there might be a settlement or something with that. So if he really is gone and he's gone for good, okay, then clearly something happened that wasn't supposed to at All Out and Brawl Out. But overall, I don't see it being a major effect on the company. You lose Punk, but you keep the Elite, which are the literal E in AEW.
Elite, right? Exactly.
If somehow Punk comes back, cool. If he does, then I wouldn't necessarily say it's a work 100%, but we'll never know. I think a lot of it is worked, though.
That is the biggest thing, is we'll never 100% know. I don't believe that it is 100% of work, but I mean, I do think that it is crazy, though, that CM Punk within a fucking year, we never thought that we would see this man in a wrestling ring again, especially on a major platform. And within a fucking year, he went from fucking wrestling's hottest commodity that we wanted to see to half, if not over half, of the wrestling fandom saying, fuck this motherfucker. Yeah. That's crazy.
And then Chris Jericho liking the tweets.
Yeah. Supposedly, again, shout out to Steven Larson, because they stay up on this shit much better than I do. And I watched their podcasts, their reviews and shit. And they were saying that Chris Jericho apparently, after All Out, went to CM Punk and told him that he was like, I forget the exact word, but he was a cancer or a detriment to the locker room or some shit, like told him that, and then Punk told him mind his business, or some shit like that. But it's just like, yeah, man. Ibn asked me if I'm like, fuck CM Punk need to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. I'm not at a fuck, if this shit is true, I'm not at a fuck CM Punk level and he needs to go. But because I love CM, I think CM Punk he's one of the best talkers in the wrestling business. I think he's one of the best in-ring competitors in the wrestling business. I think he puts on great matches and whatnot. I think that the feud with him and MJF this year, one of the best feuds of 2022, if not the best feud of 2022 in the entire business, period. But if behind the scenes, and this goes for anybody, CM Punk or whoever, if behind the scenes you really are that much of a quote unquote cancer, then it is best for you to just bow out and leave. Whoever it is.
I can agree.
Like whoever. Even if it turned out that like The Rock, as big as he was like a cancer behind the scenes, then you should probably leave. Because look how big Shawn Michaels was. True. Back in the day, and how much of a fucking asshole of cancer he was.
Yep.
At the time,
Triple H, the whole clique. Like people brought up
it was best for him to take a seat, right?
People brought up the whole Triple H Punk promo thing from a while ago, where Triple H is like, oh, yeah. You ain't shit, you ain't that different from me. Only difference is motherfuckers know what I do. They praise you just because they don't realize you do it. And Triple H just talking Triple H shit. Then this happens in AEW, and people are like, oh, maybe Triple H wasn't wrong. And I saw earlier today as I sat down, they're like, Eddie Kingston was holding nothing back, and he's just like, you no good, two-faced, narcissistic bitch. I'm like, oh. Yeah, he was just going all in on how Punk screwed him over in his early career.
I mean, you hear, like, over the years, when Punk was, doing his due, and then, in the time he was going, you heard rumblings here and there of Punk possibly being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it seemed like maybe he wasn't so much of an asshole, and more so just a dude who wanted the top spot. So he was just competitive.
Yeah.
Now, it's like, maybe the whole time he might have been a little bit of a dick. Right? So, then again, I don't really know. I don't know the man behind, CM Punk. I don't know Phil Brooks. I only know CM Punk. But It seems like maybe he could have been, every high profile for the year he was there, high profile I'm trying to say feud that he had in AEW was about how much of a fucking dick he was in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Eddie Kingston, what he did with Danielson, MJF was like, which one of us is more of a fucking dick than the other? Yeah. So it was like,
this is what he is.
So
that's another reason why I was like, maybe this is a work. And like I said, they could easily come out 2 months from now, Elite make their return. They're doing their thing. Like, ha ha ha, we're the Elite, and then and then you got Kenny versus fucking Punk after Kenny comes back and wins the fucking title or some shit. Now we can work that shit into the storyline.
But that's the thing too, though. If Punk comes back, he would have to at least initially play heel, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he does better anyway.
Yeah. Because again, he's good at on screen. He is good at just being just the most smuggest asshole on screen, at least. And I'm not talking about behind the scenes, but no. Like I said, it's crazy that he went from being wrestling's hottest commodity that we wanted to see to being where half, if not over half, of the wrestling fandom was saying, get him off our screen. And if he was to get his contract bought out and was to never wrestle again, that would be nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think, this is speculation like a motherfucker,
oh, God.
Do you think he would go back to WWE?
No, he hates that place.
Seemingly, he's one of the few people that hated Triple H more than Vince, because most people hated Vince more than Triple H if they hated either.
Yeah, he utterly despises that man.
He seemingly hated Triple H more than Vince.
Yeah.
Because supposedly there was feelers of a possibility that at least talks of Punk mayhaps with WWE. And I was just like, I don't know about that one. I mean, then again, we never thought that somebody would create a wrestling company that would even be, if not halfway on the level of WWE in a mainstream sense since WCW went out of business. Because TNA was, but we never thought somebody would create that shit, and that happened. We never thought CM Punk would come back to wrestling, period. That happened. True. We never thought that, what can I say? We never thought that Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels would bury the hatchet, at least on camera, and that happened. So.
Well, who knows?
But if that man was to go back to WWE, I would be like, okay, fucking worldwide lockdown, and then this.
I feel like I would have a better chance. I think there would be a better chance of me moving to Foxborough and working for the New England Patriots than CM Punk going back to WWE. Now, I could be wrong, because that may actually happen because he just hates AEW that much more. That very well may happen. Tony Khan may have surpassed Triple H if all of this is entirely shoot altogether and not worked in the slightest. But personally, I think he hates that company too much.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. I think that the way that Punk has talked since his departure from WWE, way before AEW was a thing, the way he's talked, I think that Punk going back to WWE would be so off in the distance, and not even happen. I mean, you can never say never in wrestling. You just can't. Yeah. The man, when he was in the after show on Fox with WWE, like WWE on Fox or whatever shit. He was on the after show, even though he said he got hired through Fox. But still, that was crazy.
Yeah,
because it was WWE programming,
and now all of them are on AEW.
Renee Paquette, Paige, Saraya, Punk. Who else was it?
Joe.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah. And then somebody who just debuted this week, or not debuted but returned this week to a huge ovation, which some people think is possible sticking it to Punk, which could be true, was Colt Cabana came back.
Oh yeah, no, that was the thing. When you said it's a huge ovation, I was like, wait, what big name did I miss? Oh no, you were talking about Colt Cabana. Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, that's kind of damning in the whole situation, the fact that suddenly we're getting elite promos and Colt Cabana's on TV. So it's looking more and more like the negative things about what Punk did are true.
Yeah. Well, because I just think, and again, we only know so much, and we only know what we know. But it was like Colt and Punk were the best of friends, and then through the issues of Punk gave Colt, or was allowed to be, however you want to look at it, on Colt's podcast, and they did the thing, and he talked about all the shit about why he left WWE and all that stuff. And then there was all the lawsuits with that, and through all the lawsuits with that, they had the huge falling out, and now they went from being the best of friends to hating each other's guts. This is like messy as fuck. But so now Punk is supposedly out of the company after what happened and everything, and now Colt Cabana is coming back, and it's just like, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who fucking knows?
I agree.
Speaking of Renee Paquette coming back, first of all, it's great to see her. I always really loved her interview style. Like I really always
She's great.
Out of backstage reporters, when she was Renee Young, first dropping on TV, way before Ambrose and her started possibly being a thing, and now they're married and all this shit. I just really always liked Renee Young, but I'm just saying it's nice to see her. But I am surprised to an extent that it took as long as it did.
She probably had some shit she wanted to do.
Right. Well, and they had a kid too. Somebody had to watch the kid.
Also true.
But you said a while ago, and I do have to kind of agree. I am a little surprised CJ Perry has not debuted.
Yeah.
In All Elite Wrestling.
Or Mia Yim.
Yeah. I will give you that, and I do agree. Yeah. I said Mia Yim's name is not as big as CJ Perry's though, but that is basically the same concept of person and spouse coming along. Yeah. But no, man. And as far as my thoughts on the Bucks and Omega returning, I mean, it's gonna be dope if they return and all that shit. I think the main reason why they would come back and Punk wouldn't is, one, they own the goddamn company.
Yeah.
So even if they did even if they were like,
if you want to buy out Punk, you got to buy out them. It's either buy out Punk and his, contract, or you buy out the Bucks and Kenny to get them to leave and not call it and the whole All Elite Wrestling thing go all to them. Like they gonna take some money from that.
I mean, if I helped create the fucking company, right? And I don't go the Cody route, which is jump ship, but I just you just buy me out.
And I'm pretty sure he got a buyout too, probably.
Well, of course they had
considering
to be some
he was executive vice president.
There was some kind of settlement, it had to be. But what I was saying was, one, they own the company, and two, all the speculation. And again, we only know what we know, but all the speculation seemingly is that what the Elite's involvement was not as bad
Well, yeah, that's what we were saying earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why they're like, well, you didn't throw the first punch and you didn't do anything so bad, so you can come back. But you, it's basically yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
The entire thing is like so messy. It's interesting up to a point.
Yeah.
But then to another point, it's
I'm done with it.
Yeah, it's like up to a point it's interesting, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we gonna keep hearing about, wait, he made this up. Wait, no, he didn't make this up. Wait, this was a lie, but this wasn't. It's like I was talking with my brother about that. I was saying some of this stuff is like, oh, okay, Ace Steel got fired. That's kind of interesting, I guess.
But why is that interesting? Who gives a damn?
That's why I said I guess. But I really don't care about the fact that, oh, hey, did CM Punk make up the lie about his dog being involved or not? I don't give a fuck.
Well, considering that's the only thing Kenny did wrong in this was that. So people need to know if they need to, hate Kenny Omega and call him the worst person on the planet because he hurt a dog, or, keep liking Kenny Omega because he's a good wrestler, even though one doesn't necessarily mean the other isn't also true.
But basically what I'm getting at is like, you hear that, oh man, he threw the first punch. Oh, he did this. But then it's like, you start hearing speculation like, well, also he bit the man. Also, he kicked him in the dick. But also he went and he gave him a wet willy. But then he went and gave him a wedgie. But did you hear that when he wasn't looking?
See, I didn't care enough to look and that deep into it. I just heard they were fighting. Someone threw a chair. Someone got bitten, and Kenny got in trouble because he tried to get a dog out the room. That's all I knew. I didn't see anybody go into more detail. Any other detail I've seen into that is, hey, CM Punk's an asshole. No, he isn't. Yeah, he is. No, he isn't. And that's all I see is argument about whether or not people are allowed to like CM Punk anymore. Which, I mean, wrestling-wise and all the stuff he's did in the past, go ahead, like it. As far as a person, you shouldn't be judging these people as a person anyway because you don't know them.
Like I said, I don't know Phil Brooks. I know CM Punk. So, yeah. But yeah, it's just like I said, I would listen to watch reviews and podcasts, from time to time here and there, and every now and then they would have more updates on the shit, and I'm just like, I don't care. That's what I was saying. Like, oh man, did you hear that when he wasn't looking, he pantsed him? It's like, bitch, I don't care. Why is this a big deal? Like, and obviously, okay, I'm exaggerating. I don't know, they didn't do all that shit, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. And lastly, before we get into Crown Jewel and Full Gear and other shit like that, what was I gonna say? I would say that big recovery to Hangman Page.
Yeah,
that was scary, and that was real because of the fact that they did not show it, and the doctor for real was in the ring. So, yeah, Hangman Page.
Hey, John Moxley's been telling people for months, stop getting in the ring with me. I'ma fucking kill you. CM Punk injures himself, leading to Brawl Out in that whole deal with winning the match from John Moxley. CM Punk won and got re-injured. Moxley ends up getting the fucking title back later anyway. And then Hangman Page is like, well, you ain't fucked me yet. Well, you don't want to do this. I fuck people up. You're different after you fight me. Fuck you. And then Page is injured. And obviously he didn't mean to, but storyline-wise, this does help the character. Obviously, get healthy, Page. I'm just saying, from a storyline outside perspective, Moxley fucking shelved that man with a goddamn clothesline. You gotta watch out for this Moxley guy. He's starting to be serious when he say being in the ring with me is not a fun time for you.
That's funny.
Whether intentional or not, the character has done this now and injured two people who tried to who fucked around and found out.
Speaking of stars, they weren't stars, right? I well, no, I was gonna say though that I think though that the injury came not because Moxley was stiff, but because Page just sold the fuck out of it.
Well, yeah, he landed us again, not intentional. However,
no, you said not intentional. Right?
I said, according to the fucking canon of the story, Moxley clotheslined the shit out of this man and shelled him for months. Like, it wasn't intentional, but when the character John Moxley says, getting in the ring with me changes a man for the worse, and the last two people that he got in the ring with got changed for the worse, regardless of whether or not he had anything to do with either one. In fact, it was the Elite that ruined both people one way or another, or were at the root of the cause. It's still funny. Like, and that's adding levity to it, because I've already said I hope the man gets better. And luckily,
Right.
And I know NFL and stuff has got people being very touchy with this, but luckily it was only a concussion. It wasn't like he's paralyzed for the rest of his life and all this other stuff. Yes, you have to worry about the possibility of CTE, but at least he should be a somewhat smooth recovery.
As crazy as that sounds to say, I know what you mean by saying that.
Yeah.
I get what you mean by saying.
I mean, people watch boxing, and as I said on Whatever We Want, the whole point of boxing is to give your opponent a concussion, and no one bats an eye.
Yeah. The entire point is knock this man the fuck out.
Yeah, give him a concussion so he stays knocked out long enough for you to be the winner.
Yeah.
And if you don't, some judges will be like, well, he had a better chance of giving him a concussion if they would have kept going. I think he could have given him a concussion in the 5th round. I think he should win.
I asked my mom, I think it was maybe a year or two, well, it might have been 2-3 years ago or something like that, when it's either I want to say the second Creed, maybe the first Creed, but probably the second Creed. And we had it like on the background or something like that. And I said, what would you do if that was like my dream to be a boxer or something? Because it's my mom. So obviously I was like, how you feel your son doing this shit? And she was like, that's a hell of a way to pay rent. I was saying, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think my mom would be in a similar boat, but she wouldn't be happy overall.
Right.
Because she told me she was so happy that I decided to back out of going into football.
Yeah.
That I made that decision so she wouldn't have to feel like either A, terrified every week, or B, like she was the bad person for suggesting I got out.
Stopping it. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Because I mean, don't know mom, especially parents, but moms especially don't want to see their kids fucking having another, fucking grown ass motherfucking big, huge motherfucker. All they do is lift weights and think about killing motherfuckers. Just, kill this man. And they get on the field and they just, that's like their one goal is to torpedo their body through
somebody else, yeah.
No, not through your ass. Shit. So all right, let's get into it. Crown Jewel is, as we record this on the 5th of November, Crown Jewel is actually gonna be. So this will be Crown Jewel will have happened the day we record this, but the day before we released this shit. But we can still go ahead and talk about it. So,
what are we talking about? It hasn't happened yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I'm saying we're recording this November 5th, right?
Yeah, but how are we going to talk about the pay-per-view when it hasn't happened yet?
Predictions.
Oh, predictions. Okay, Roman wins.
That's why I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, no. We're obviously we're not talking about who won in the results.
Oh,
no,
I'm like,
what the fuck happened? That's what the fuck are you talking about? No. on the day that we're recording this, Crown Jewel happens later. Okay. But the day that we release this,
Roman wins. That's my prediction.
Okay. Well, we got Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns, and apparently Jake Paul is going to be in this corner. So, right. But it's for the main like unified undisputed WWE Universal title. I'm with you. Roman Reigns is going to win.
Yeah.
Bruh. Yeah. Logan Paul really didn't got his fucking profile up from being just random internet guy to really being like big name and shit. Anyway, like I said, Alexa Bliss and Asuka came back. They got the tag titles now, and they're going against Damage Control, Kai and Sky. I think as dope as Damage Control was, and as dope as they were somewhat being, I think that if we're going to be honest, at the moment at least, they seemingly only care about Bayley. So they're going to let, it's a.
Do they care about Bayley? She keeps losing. At least Damage Control won the damn titles.
Well, shit. Who was the first one? Wasn't it like fucking Raquel and some other motherfucker won them? Like when Damage Control should have won him the first time anyway.
But yeah, no, Damage Control, to my knowledge, has done nothing but lose except for winning that tag team title.
But it's Alexa Bliss, and then Asuka, and it's the return. And then, like I say, I think so. If they don't care about Bayley, I think they care about Bayley more than Dakota Kai and Io. So take with that what you will. So I'm gonna say Bliss and Asuka win that one.
I don't know enough about how fans feel about Damage Control because I don't watch enough WWE. Because I don't know if they'll go ahead and keep this going on longer with Damage Control. Because, as you mentioned, I'm going to say Damage Control just because, as you mentioned, Alexa and Asuka are just thrown together team that can both be better served fighting for the actual titles.
Oh, like the main single title. Yeah.
Whether it's Raw or SmackDown, whatever title.
Yeah, because if you want to talk about an actual team, right? Damage Control is an actual team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you make women's tag titles and you don't have a whole lot of women, especially women's tag.
But AEW is the one that doesn't respect women. But anyway,
what we got? We have the OC, which I forgot they called them that. But the OC, which is AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, which is a little bit of Bullet Club.
The original club being the OC.
Oh, okay. Versus the Judgment Day. I have to remember I can't say it versus Judgment Day because Judgment Day was an old pay-per-view. No, the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley in the corner. The Judgment Day is going to win that.
Yeah.
Dominic might be the weak link, but the Judgment Day is going to win that shit.
Yeah, I don't like Dominic, but we'll see how his career progresses. He's young.
Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. Scarlett in his corner in a steel cage match. McIntyre.
TikTok victory for Croc. Fallen prey in the days. Oh, wait, that's Baron Corbin. Oops.
So you're saying Kross is going to win, though?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, all of that, what is that?
TikTok? That's his thing. Fallen prey? Also his thing.
Okay.
Now, I said victory for Croc.
Corbin thing, that's why I was like.
Well, then I said, because I rhymed it, Fallen Prey with In the Days, and I said, oh, wait, that's Corbin. Oops. Okay. And I also said Croc instead of Cross because his TikTok, here comes the Croc, or Cross thing or whatever, was fucking TikTok, here comes the Croc or whatever, Killer Croc in Batman. And I think his independent name instead of Karrion Kross is Killer Cross. So he was literally just going with a fucking Killer Croc gimmick. So that's why I was like, tick tock, give it to the Croc, fall and pray, be the end of his days. Oh wait, end of days is Corbin.
I got McIntyre winning just because McIntyre is the bigger name. But if they if they were smart, they would let Cross win to somewhat build him up.
Exactly, because Cross is Triple H's guy, and I'm pretty sure Scarlett already hourglassed Roman at some point to be like, nigga, we coming for you. That's why I'm saying Cross needs to beat somebody, and Drew is a good person for him to beat. Because he killed Keith Lee. Like, they gave Keith Lee that first ever, like, double NXT championship only to immediately feed him to Cross so you could be like, this Cross guy is terrifying. That was with Triple H still running NXT.
Yeah, NXT, right.
And so, with Triple H running things now and still being all about Cross to the point where he gave him Scarlett back, which was much needed.
Presentation makes a big deal, man. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in ring, it's the overall package. The Usos versus the Brawling Brutes, which would be in this case Rich Holland and Butch for the tag team undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship.
Usos.
So come on now, Bloodline, baby, come on now. And then I mean, let's be honest, they're not going to lose to the Brawling Brutes.
Well, I just said Usos. I agreed.
They're not going to lose to the Brawling Brutes. Braun Strowman versus Omos. That's going to be a good match for what it is as far as, oh shit, look at these big motherfuckers.
Big meaty men bumping meat.
And then after you get over the, oh shit, look at these big motherfuckers, you're going to realize that one of them is a little bit better in the ring than the other one, and Braun Strowman's going to win.
Okay, I'm about to say they don't need to be because that ain't the point of the match. They not, I don't know how many times Big E got to tell people they ain't out here for 5-star Meltzer, massages or whatever. They out here for just the sheer concept of big meaty men bumping meat, and that's Big E's words, not mine. But it's still a funny thing to say. No, for the people at home, that's still a funny thing for people to say. But at the end of the day. Yeah, I want Braun to win, but again, if they ever want Omos to be taken seriously, he's got to beat people. Still, give me Braun every day just because of wishful thinking. I like Omos, but I like Braun because Braun is a better character.
I like Omos too because I like big huge motherfucker going around whooping ass, taking names, and like, oh shit, that dude. The dude who looks scary, he actually is. Like, I like that.
I like that, but Braun is a big scary dude too. He's not as big as Omos, but Braun the character flips cars over for no fucking reason, even if they're not the car of the person he's mad at, as we saw where he just flipped over that car in the parking lot on his return. He's just not a happy dude, and I like those kind of characters.
I met what's his name, Adam, when he was Adam Sher at the time. I met the dude and I shook his hand and he was not squeezing at all. Shook that dude's hand. I was like, God damn, this dude could kill me.
Well, same thing with like Bobby Lashley when I met him.
Like, this man could kill me. Like if he was the nicest dude ever. He was like, hey man, how's it going? If this motherfucker just decided to go berserk and choke me, it would not take long for my windpipe to be crushed. Like,
right.
Jesus Christ. So speaking of big meaty men slapping meat, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. The difference is this match will be, more of a contested match and less of a, oh shit, they're big and that's like all there is to it for the most part. This is going to be, oh shit, they're big and they're going to have a decent match, most likely. I'm going to say Brock is going to take this, though.
Yeah.
Because, ever since
Lesnar won the first one. So Brock is going to win the second and we'll get our rubber match on a pay-per-view that's not in Saudi Arabia.
And for the most part, I'm not saying this is 100%, but for the most part, ever since, Brock's been back, it's been not too many matches he's lost anyway, so I don't see him.
Hasn't he only fought Roman and lost every time? Which Brock coming back are you talking about? Or if you're talking cowboy hat Brock, which I think is the Brock that's fighting Bobby.
I'm talking about when he came back, like ever since he came back, part-time Brock.
In 2012? Then yes, he hasn't lost hardly anything since then.
No, I'm talking about. Wait, no. What the fuck am I talking about?
Because he's been part-time Brock for a minute, so that's why I'm like, which comeback are you talking about?
When was it that Seth Rollins was Intercontinental Champion, but they were making that like that was the main title because Brock wasn't on TV?
Oh, you're talking about reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion Brock Lesnar.
I guess so.
So since he came back from that one?
I guess so.
I don't know why we're arguing. At the end of the day, Brock doesn't lose a lot of matches as a character. But I was just curious on what you're talking about. Like, technically, if you're talking to, when you said, just because you said since he came back.
Right, I'm not talking about his most recent return with the tractor and shit. I'm not talking about that.
I would say, because, yeah, he's only lost it. That's what you mean. But if you're just talking about since Brock Lesnar existed as a character in WWE, he hasn't taken a lot of losses.
I'm not talking about, like, his debut in 2002, no. I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm not figuring out the best way to say it, but either way, Brock Lesnar, I guess if your name isn't Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar does not lose too many matches is what I'm getting at. So.
Yeah. And also I'm agreeing with you, but he lost to Bobby Lashley as well.
No, he has lost to Lashley.
But that's why I was saying he probably is winning this one, so they can have a rubber match later.
I got you. And it's not for the title like it was either.
Bork Laser versus Black Lesnar. Bork Laser's gonna win.
Bianca Belair in a last woman standing match for the Raw Women's Championship versus Bayley. Bianca's going to keep it.
Same.
Because they are very high on Bianca for good reason. And like we just said, I said they care about Bayley. She's a leader in Damage Control anyway, but they care about Bayley more than the others in Damage Control.
But all she does is lose, is all I was saying.
Well, that's what I was saying.
And yes, Bianca, superior superstar. I'm not going into all of that. I'm just saying she's losing.
Well, that's what I was getting at was if they care about Bayley more than the other two in Damage Control, but they seem to slowly be on the decline of giving a damn about Damage Control, then Bayley's not going to win versus, yeah. All right. Full Gear. Let's get into it.
All right.
Full Gear is going to be November 19th. So that is... Let me look at my calendar.
A while from now. 14 days from now, so that's 2 Saturdays from now.
2 weeks, like again, because we're recording this on the 5th. So, yeah. But 2 weeks. All right. As it stands, a certain Maxwell Jacob Friedman has decided that he announced that he is going to be cashing in for the championship against Jon Moxley, if he keeps it that long, which he most likely will. Against Jon Moxley, he's going to be cashing in at Full Gear for the All Elite Championship. I got MJF getting his first title reign off of this.
Same.
It's overdue. It makes sense.
1, it's overdue. 2, allegedly Moxley's been trying to go on vacation for a minute, and then people keep getting injured while fighting him, so he keeps having to keep the belt.
That's another reason, speaking of his wife coming into the company, that's another reason why I was surprised that she didn't come sooner, but I was a little surprised to see her because I was like, I thought he was trying to go on vacation, and now both of y'all are here. So that was funny. She was probably like, well, shit, fuck it. You can't we can't go, so we just gonna,
yeah.
We're both here
you're
now.
Mr. Face of the company now, so.
We're both here now, shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's overdue, man. MJF is one of the most over fucking people in the goddamn company. And I mean, he's dropping feelers. We'll see. Could be a big ass swerve, which would be very MJF. But he's very like in between face heel right now, which I love.
He's a heel.
Yes, he is. I agree.
I'm not buying this.
I agree. But I love that he's doing face type shit, and I can't wait to see what the culmination of whatever these like feelers he's throwing out is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are speculating that Regal is going to turn on Moxley at the last second and join with MJF.
I mean, Regal is a career heel, so I could see that.
Right. Which would be fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be amazing. Did you see the promo heard around the world with the two of them?
No.
Where
because there's a promo heard around the world every month, apparently. Was this a promo heard around the world?
That is true. No, Regal was... So, Regal MJF are in the ring. MJF comes out, and apparently this was true shit. MJF comes out, and he starts talking about how years ago when he was trying to get into the business, he came across Regal, and he was cutting a good promo, a great promo because he's MJF, but he was cutting a promo, and he was talking about how like back when I was trying to get into the business, I tried out, I didn't quite make it, but you, Regal, said that if I wanted to, I could basically contact you and send you an email every week with my match, and I would show you my matches, and then you would give me your input. So it's like I didn't make it, but you'll still give me some insight. So he's like, I did it the first week, and you kind of said a little something here and there. Then another week you said something. Then he said about a third or fourth week, you were like, hey, Max, I forget exactly what he said, but it was like so many words. He was like, I don't have all the time to keep watching these, so you don't send them or some shit like that. Basically, I didn't make it, but you told me you would help me, and then you pretty much forgot and kind of said, fuck me. And then Regal was like, if that's all you had to go through was an email, and Max was like, I wanted to, off myself after that, and I went into a deep depression and all this shit, blah blah blah, which apparently is real shit,
Okay.
But then Regal was like, when I was coming up through the business, and he said I was 16 years old fighting grown ass men, getting my fucking head bashed in and all this shit. And he said, what did he say? So if an email was all you had, sunshine, then you had it easy. It was like, oh shit, it was good shit. It was good shit. If you find it, you look it up. It was good shit. But anyway, like I said, I got MJF winning that. The most over team in the fucking company going against Swerve in Our Glory. They claim versus Swerve in Our Glory. For the AEW Tag Team Championship. Again, I am surprised that it is not FTR. If FTR does not win the title, the AEW Tag titles by the end of the year, I don't know what it was all for. That's another story. Anyway, I got the Acclaimed winning this because the bigger story besides Swerve in Our Glory winning these titles is the fact that you have a tag team with a heel and a face.
Yeah.
So it's more about the story with Swerve in Our Glory. Didn't try to do that. But it's more about the story with Swerve in Our Glory than it is about them winning the titles. And the Acclaimed is over as shit, so why take it off of them anyway?
Yeah. So, I'll give you that. Acclaim.
We've got Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship match. I have Toni Storm winning this, but I do think that the time to pull the trigger a little bit and let Jamie Hayter take wings has dwindled. She was starting to organically get over, and they could have definitely, kind of let her break away from Britt. She could have said, fuck you, Britt. Break away from Britt.
Yeah.
and the crowd was starting to just like chant Jamie and chant like hater and all this shit, and they didn't really necessarily lean into it.
Here's the thing, though, that they can still do that.
It doesn't seem like they can still do it. It doesn't seem like they will.
It doesn't seem like they will, but to be like her window's passed, no, because while she is an amazing wrestler and blah blah blah, story is also good. She has an extra added benefit of being highly attractive. So they're gonna cheer Jamie, Jamie, Jamie regardless.
I mean, I got you. That's the reason why Lana started getting over back in the day. Yeah, she started getting like cheered back when she was just a fucking like valet, and all she did was speak in a fake Russian accent. Yeah. And then everybody just started cheering her because they were like, "Hey, who's the fucking sexy Russian woman next to you?" Vladimir Putin. Right. But there was definitely like they were throwing out the feelers of she's gonna break away from Britt, and you know.
Well, here's the thing: the AEW does that with everybody. You can say that literally with every fucking wrestler every time that they throw out the feelers and blah blah blah.
They do that all the time.
They've been teasing that Keith Lee and Swerve will break up since they joined together, and they're still doing it.
This looks like it might actually happen, which is why if it doesn't, because I was gonna say that they did the same shit with Garcia, and it really looked like he was gonna be some shit with Garcia, and then Garcia was like, "Never mind, boop, I'm JAS all day, bitch." Why did we watch pretty much a month of buildup? Over a month of buildup. The hater thing was a little bit of like, okay, what are we doing? The Garcia thing was like, why?
I agree.
The Garcia thing looked like it was about to be the skyrocket.
Probably because they realized what I realized, like as amazing as he is in the ring, he's literally just a created wrestler named Daniel Garcia.
I disagree. You say I'm smiling because I couldn't wait for you to say it, but I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think he's good on the mic. I think he's got good charisma. I think
he's a creative wrestler.
I think he's got great charisma. I think he's good on the mic. I think he's amazing in the ring.
I think he'll be better with time because I think he's also super duper young.
Yeah, he's like 23.
Yeah, he's only 23, and we're trying to fucking rocket ship put the belt on him to the moon. This guy, nah, he got fucking time to grow and develop. Same thing as fucking what's his name, Jungle Boy, who they also kept fumbling the bag with the whole Christian's gonna betray. No, he's not. No, he's not. Oh, Christian finally betrayed, but Luchasaurus betrayed him. Actually, no, he didn't. Actually, yes, he did. What's going on with this? I don't get it.
The Luchasaurus thing was weird because the Christian thing was we all kind of saw it coming, and it just got more and more and more noticeable. And when it came time, they didn't tease it and not do it. The Luchasaurus thing was weird because it was like I'm with Christian, but actually the whole time I was a mole, so I'm really with you, but actually I was never with you. That was a little odd. But now that he's with Christian, like, okay.
Sammy left Jericho's inner circle only to a month later join the fucking Appreciation Society.
Yeah. But the reason why
more weeks and weeks of build up, they built up Wardlow leaving fucking MJF for 2 years.
Wardlow so hard. Fumble Wardlow so hard. But yeah, they built that up for 2 years. You're right. The thing with Sammy was I think that if Sammy and Ty had a different reaction when they tried to have Sammy go solo, Sammy still would have been by himself. I really think the reason why Sammy went back to JAS was because they had the experiment of you were with the Inner Circle long enough, we got your name and profile out there, now take wings. And then that motherfucker took wings and did some Icarus too close to the sun shit and started to fall. And they were like, oops, and they put him right back where he came from.
That's what I feel like with fucking Daniel Garcia. It's just instead of fucking that, it's like maybe we did this too early, but at least we got it out there so we can do it again later. Maybe we can swerve it as hey, he fucking was tricking Jericho. He wanted him to drop his guard a bit more.
It just seems very odd to put a lot of stock into the buildup of a story to then not go all the way with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I mean, and then also, of course, you have the thing going on with Death Triangle right now, where you want to talk about a team where you have one heel with faces, and they got the trios titles, and then Lucha Brothers are faces, but then Pac is obsessed with picking up the timekeeper hammer and beating motherfuckers up with it to the point where he even went to Ray Phoenix and was like, Ray.
Use the hammer
Listen
and
to me,
Ray
bro.
threw it away.
Listen to me, bro. Ray. Listen, dude. This hammer though. It was like, you clock motherfuckers with this and magically you win. I'm just saying. It was the way he was looking like. So you got that too. I don't know, man. The last match, Fatal 4-Way for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Speaking of the BCC, some people are speculating, and it is kind of seeming like the BCC is going to implode. And it looks like it might. We've got the champion Jericho going in against Danielson, Castagnoli, and Guevara. So we got 2 JAS, 2 BCC for the Ring of Honor Championship. Jericho's going to keep it.
Yeah.
Because it helps
this Ocho thing for a minute.
Well, and it helps the story when Jericho is saying, I am purposely trying to destroy Ring of Honor from within. Fuck all things Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I know it helps the story, so I said they're keeping it going for a minute. I'm agreeing with you.
Right. He's like, fuck all things Ring of Honor. If you're a wrestler, if you're a ring announcer, if you're a commentator, I'm whooping everybody's ass. If your name is attached to Ring of Honor, then I'm killing you. It's like, what the fuck? So, yeah, what do you call it? Ring of Jericho? Yeah. He changes everything to be something of Jericho, which is cool. I don't know. Like I said, obviously I'm still watching this shit. And I mean, keeping up with WWE, watching it here and there, watching AEW. But when you, like I said earlier, when you lose your big stars and a few of them at the same time, and then you don't necessarily have huge stories, and you have to like make the stories because you didn't have any before, then there's nothing necessarily gripping.
No, I agree.
To watch. So yeah, I will say this last month of watching AEW is the first time since I really started watching AEW that felt the most like a chore for me.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part is they have plenty of star talent that they're just not using right now.
Because I think it goes to show that I think the CM Punk experiment, to an extent, and I thought about this, it goes to show that they spent a lot of time making him a star and look like a star, have star stuff, and not a lot of time building up other stars around Punk.
And I disagree.
What I mean by that is you had other people who were like upper mid card up to a point, but I think that they focused a lot on the Hangman Pages and the Bryan Danielsons and the Omegas, and not as much on the Wardlows and the Joes and the other motherfuckers that could have been like superstar quality. So.
Fair enough. I think they have a lot of people that they're just not using because I think they did build up a lot of talent around him. But as I said before, there's other ways to build people up than put the fucking main belt on them.
I agree with that.
And there's other ways, and you just gotta push them. And they were. Like, Miro looked terrifying every time he fucking came out. He shat on somebody. Darby Allin is a fucking AEW, like, great waiting to happen. Because the kids and then they got the thing they need with Darby Allin, and that's the kids. They love them some Darby Allin. They're like painting their face all the time. So that's why, and they noticed that, and finally started pulling the trigger a while back with Cassidy because they noticed the kids love with Cassidy.
Yeah, kids love Cassidy.
I don't know why they stopped with the Danhausen thing. Dude may not ever be champion, but he's a merchandise genius.
Yeah, he is.
So
and, I mean, he's great, and he's Is it wrong to say that he's one of the few comedy wrestlers in AEW? Damn.
I think that's wrong to say. I think there's a lot of comedy wrestlers. One of them is the tag team champions.
When I say comedy wrestlers,
their slogan is "Scissor me, daddy ass."
No, but I'm talking about in ring. They don't wrestle comedically.
Well, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything about Danhausen's package from start to finish is
fucking Cassidy's a comedic.
There you go.
The best friends as well.
I wouldn't 100% say
their whole thing is hugging each other. Ha ha ha! Look, they hug. Gotta give the people what they want.
I got you. That's why I said, is it wrong to say?
Like, there's a comedy goof, like, just like we got the scary, terrifying division at AEW that you should never go anywhere near unless you want to fucking die. And, you know, I mentioned before, there are your Moxleys and the like that eke out into the main roster and just shit on everybody in the main roster because they just ain't people you should be fucking with. It's like, sorry, you let them out that division and let them fight for a belt. They're gonna murder a man and take it. That's just what it is. Every time. But you have your goofy division over there too, where it's like, what are these guys doing? The Dark Order. They try to be serious at the start, but they're a fucking comedy thing. Ever since their leader died and they started being run by a 5-year-old, rightfully so, because, you know, he lost his dad and stuff. I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just saying the group is run by a 5-year-old and they act like it.
Right. I don't know. I'd said from the jump with AEW that, and I didn't mean it disparagingly. I meant it more so just looking at it, I guess, just somewhat from just a what's the word? I was gonna say realistic type way, but that's not necessarily the right word. But I guess for lack of a better word, and then that word might end up being challenged, which would be perfectly fine. But was when AEW was acquiring a lot of talent, which was great when it was debuts and all that shit. It was great for like, oh shit. But I did say that if everybody goes to the promised land,
yeah, they're gonna run out of spot. There's only so much TV time.
It starts to dry up for the amount of shit. And one thing that does happen a lot in AEW is that you will have big shit happening with people, and then all of a sudden you don't see them for like 2, 3, 4 months. Well, not 4 months, but like 2 months or some shit. Like with FTR. FTR was being built up, and FTR was like the star fucking tag team having this crazy 2022 year run, and then we're just now seeing them after seemingly 2 months of nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I said they need to actually use the stars they have. That's the problem. They lost the elite and stuff, and it's simple. Just keep putting on the people on the TV that you have as big names. But no, they wanted to try and start from scratch with other things, and now they've got this thing where they had this lack of star power when it's more like lack of use of the star power they do have. Because people are like, oh, they cooled down Miro and stuff. Oh, you know how to heat them up instantly? Put them back on TV, let them squash somebody, and congratulations, he's right back where he was.
Where the fuck is Miro? Miro is like the fucking man. Miro has amazing matches. He's got a great package, a great persona, all this shit. Where the fuck is he? Where's Miro? Where is Miro been? And I mean, don't get me started on the amount of times where they're like, oh, with the women's division, they're like, we don't know what to do, push the D button. We see Serena D for like a little bit. She has a great match, and then she goes away. Where the fuck is she at? That woman could be top monster heel next to Britt, maybe. She needs a mouthpiece. She can't talk on the mic worth shit. I love you, Deeb. You can't. Other than that,
She can be top heel. Oh, a monster heel.
She's great in the fucking ring, but or she could at least be up there heel.
No, she's a fantastic wrestler. She can be a great heel. I'm solely going off of monster heel. I think monster heels. I think your Nia Jaxes and your Nia Roses that just toss people around like they ain't shit. Much like when I think monster heel with men, I'm thinking your Braun Strowmans or Omos's. Your big Berg, nigga, or Wardlow. Where if Wardlow were a heel, Wardlow's like a monster face.
We're just now seeing Nyla Rose again. Mm-hmm. Where the fuck was she? Like, they just, people get fucking huge and they're like, and go over there. Like, what are we doing, man? I don't know. Again, armchair bookers, we don't know, right? Ultimately, we don't know how to run a wrestling company. I don't. So, but at the end of the day, definitely certain things look kind of crazy. And one other thing I've been thinking too before we close out is that we're at the time now as we start to round into year 4 of AEW that new car smell is definitely worn off.
Yeah,
and it's definitely gotten to a point where all of the yay something to compete against WWE has started to, within the wrestling world, going to yay to now you're starting to see everybody, some people way worse and harsher than they should be, but you're starting to see that people are like, you see cracks in the foundation, basically, of the company in and of itself. And, not everybody likes Tony Khan for what it is and all that shit. I do like the firm. I will say that. I like what they're seemingly doing with the firm.
Yeah, having them work for MJF.
Well, I like it because it was 5 dudes who they seemingly weren't doing shit with, so they put them in a team to do shit with them, and then they kind of look like MJF's team, and MJF was like, if you interfere, you're fired, and they were like, well, bitch, fuck you, fire us then, and I was like, that's a good look. Because it made them look like we don't answer to nobody.
Yeah.
So that was,
even though they answer to MJF.
No, I mean they don't anymore.
Yes, they do.
Because the whole No,
I hear you. This is MJF.
So you're saying
this is Mr. Never going to lose that diamond ring match because he must use it to cheat in his matches to win. MJ fucking F. They are still his employee. I'm not buying this face turn shit at all.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I get that. You're saying that the whole, if you interfere, you're fired shit was a setup.
Yes. It's just MJF doing MJF shit. He's trying to make you think, because his whole thing is, ha ha ha, you marks ate up my acting so well. I'm such a good actor. I can make you think anything. Well, I'm not falling for this shit, nigga. You still MJF. You ain't fired nobody.
I agree. I definitely am not falling for the, not falling for the face turn, but I did think that the whole if you attack them, you're fired shit. I didn't necessarily think that was a setup, but I see what you mean though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's one thing that I wanted to
Wait, what did we miss?
We didn't miss nothing.
Oh.
We always do who's gonna be the next champion, and we said everybody.
Oh yeah, we just literally answered that.
I think. Oh, okay. We didn't do TNT champion, which Wardlow currently holds.
Well, he's never on TV, so how can anyone take it from him? Wardlow.
I'll say ain't that bad. That's true though. He's gonna keep it. The AEW All Atlantic Championship, which I would have suspected, like I said when they started it, that it was gonna be foreign-born champions, but Cassidy has it, which is dope. Cassidy's gonna hold on to it for a minute.
I agree.
The FTW Championship, if it even is a real one.
Hook.
But I mean, Hook got it. Hook's gonna keep it. Trios title. Whenever the Elite comes back, they're taking that bitch back. But until then,
Triangle, yeah.
And the TBS, which is funny because Jade has it right now, but Nyla is pretending like it's hers, which is fucking hilarious.
So Jade.
But Jade is gonna keep it, yeah. Jade's
another example of a monster face or heel. I'm not sure what she's supposed to be. She's an example of a monster heel because that's the whole point. She comes out there and murders people. That's what I think when I think monsters.
I got you. What was I gonna say? Nyla is pretending like it's hers, which was funny because was it Nyla and Anna JAS, I think it was, had a match for the TBS title that neither one of them had, which was fucking hilarious. Nyla stole the title, and then they had a match for the title that neither one of them were the carriers of. Fucking hilarious. So eventually Nyla and Jade are gonna have a match for it, but Jade is gonna keep it right now.
I agree.
All right. All that being said, again, everybody, these are just opinions of two lifelong wrestling fans. So take some of this shit with a grain of salt, man. Have a good time. Don't take none of this shit too serious. We're just having fun. We're just shooting the shit, and we're just talking about an industry which we love to watch, which is wrestling. So obviously, if we got some things wrong or if we said some shit that seemed a little off, nothing was meant to be fucked up. Everything was meant to be all in fun. And we definitely love y'all. So please, please, please engage in the discussion if you feel so suited. Let's try to keep it lighthearted and actually have a discussion and not make everything necessarily be you were wrong, fuck you. How about you were just wrong? Maybe not the fuck you. Okay. All that being said, love y'all. And if you would like to follow us on our respective socials, then you can go ahead and look me up under the name Superjaz, which is spelled SUPERJAZ. Anywhere you stream your music. I'm a rapper. I released my debut solo album, My Secret Identity, on all streaming platforms a year ago. So anywhere you stream your music, look me up. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity, because I'm not so famous yet. Also, if you want to, look me up on Twitter under the handle Superjaz2, which would be Superjaz number 2. And of course, you can go ahead, find and follow me on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz, the word forever spelled correctly. Where can they find you, man?
Well, obviously, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast, as well as the first Sunday every month with this show. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube under Feo Grande, that is Feo Grande. I'm also on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi, that is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by, and starting Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, you can watch some Norse gods die in PS5, because I got God of War Ragnarok coming up. I'm going to be streaming that.
And that's how you stay alive. It ain't no jive.
Mm-hmm. 3 ain't enough. I need 5.
You have referenced that so much in the last month on podcast. Fucking hilarious.
It's like the first Sunday version of X Gonna Give It To You.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of, well, that would be a reference to that he says on the other show. If you don't know, which would be surprising because this is the channel for it, as I said when we opened again.
Oh, did I not mention Whatever We Want or something?
Oh, you did say that. I'm over here just like going on autopilot. You did say Whatever We Want on this channel. My bad. Did you say this guy hasn't seen?
I mentioned my channel. But yes, we do have This Guy Hasn't Seen as a show on my channel, which does have some episodes that feature the gentleman to my side, but also is mainly co-hosted by my buddy Bill Smith, one of my best friends in the world, El Director, as he is also known in some circles. Yeah, it's a good time where we trade movies and stuff back and forth, sometimes TV shows or animes. Just pretty much, hey, I like this, and you haven't seen it? All right, bam. Usually visually media, now that I mention it that way. Because like,
my bad.
This guy hasn't seen the Thriller album. What?
Well, I mean,
Like I'm just saying, if you were to talk about music, if you were to talk about trendy music, this guy hasn't seen this. Oh,
that wouldn't necessarily like benefit him to see the album.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I guess visual media is the better way to put that.
Oh shit! That's like saying this guy hasn't heard Catcher in the Rye. It's like,
well, I mean, audiobooks.
I know audiobooks exist for the sake of the fucking, you know what? Okay. All right, everybody. We really do appreciate y'all engage in the discussion. Let's get a discussion going. And like I said, let's keep it
civil. You said that.
Yeah, let's keep it cordial, keep it civil. But talk to us and we will talk back. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all. And in the meantime, between time, peace. Have a good one. Be nice to yourself.
Adiosness.